The terrifying legacy of King Leopold II, history's most notorious ruler. King Leopold II of Belgium, once a symbol of European colonial ambition, has come to be remembered as one of history's most brutal and notorious rulers. His reign over the Congo Free State in the late 19th and early 20th centuries left a legacy of horror, exploitation, and death that still haunts the region today. While he ruled Belgium as a constitutional monarch, his personal control over the Congo turned into a nightmarish regime marked by extreme violence, greed, and dehumanization. The true scale of the atrocities committed under Leopold's rule was hidden for years, but once revealed, it became one of the darkest chapters in human history. The creation of the Congo Free State. Leopold II ascended to the Belgian throne in 1865, but his ambitions extended far beyond the borders of his small European kingdom. Obsessed with the idea of expanding Belgium's influence and wealth, he set his sights on Africa, where European powers were engaged in a fierce scramble for colonies. However, rather than acquiring new territories for Belgium itself, Leopold pursued a personal colonial empire. He used diplomatic maneuvering, deceit, and a facade of philanthropy to secure the Congo Basin as his own private possession at the Berlin Conference of 1884 to 1885. Leopold cleverly marketed his acquisition as a humanitarian mission to bring civilization, Christianity, and trade to the African interior. He established the Congo Free State under the pretense of combating the Arab slave trade and promoting the welfare of the indigenous population. In reality, his intentions were far more sinister. The Congo Free State became a vast labor camp where the primary goal was to extract as much wealth as possible from the land and its people. Leopold's true motives were to exploit the region's natural resources, particularly rubber and ivory, to amass a fortune for himself. The reign of terror and exploitation. Leopold's rule in the Congo Free State quickly descended into one of the most brutal colonial regimes the world has ever seen. The primary focus of the exploitation was the extraction of rubber, which had become increasingly valuable due to the growing demand for tires and other industrial products in Europe and the United States. To maximize profits, the regime imposed a quota system on the local population, forcing them to harvest rubber from the wild vines that grew in the dense Congolese forests. Failure to meet these quotas was met with horrific punishments. The most infamous practice was the severing of hands, a form of punishment and terror used to enforce compliance. Soldiers of the Force Publique, Leopold's private army, were ordered to cut off the hands of villagers who did not meet their rubber quotas. The severed hands were often collected as proof that the soldiers had carried out their orders, leading to widespread mutilation and disfigurement. Entire villages were destroyed, and countless lives were lost in the pursuit of rubber profits. The brutality extended beyond the rubber trade. Villagers were subjected to forced labor, starvation, and systematic violence. The conditions were so appalling that millions of Congolese people died as a result of the exploitation, either directly from the violence or from the famine and disease that spread through the devastated region. While exact figures are difficult to ascertain, estimates suggest that the population of the Congo may have been reduced by as much as 50% during Leopold's reign. This staggering death toll places the Congo Free State among the most devastating genocides in history. The global outcry and exposure. For years, the horrors of the Congo Free State were largely hidden from the world. Leopold carefully controlled the flow of information, using his wealth and influence to suppress criticism and maintain a positive image abroad. However, the truth began to emerge thanks to the efforts of missionaries, journalists, and activists who witnessed the atrocities firsthand and refused to remain silent. One of the most prominent figures in exposing Leopold's crimes was British journalist E.D. Morrell, who noticed discrepancies in the trade between Belgium and the Congo. Morrell realized that while vast amounts of rubber and ivory were being exported from the Congo, very little was being sent back in return, except for guns, ammunition, and chains. This revelation led him to investigate further, and he eventually launched an international campaign to expose the atrocities. Morrell was joined by other activists, including American missionary George Washington Williams and the famous author Mark Twain. Williams was one of the first to document the abuses in the Congo, describing them as crimes against humanity. Twain, meanwhile, used his sharp wit and literary talent to criticize Leopold in his pamphlet King Leopold's Soliloquy, a scathing indictment of the king's actions. These efforts, along with those of others, helped galvanize public opinion and put pressure on European governments to act. The global outcry eventually led to an international investigation, and in 1908, Leopold was forced to cede control of the Congo to the Belgian government. However, by this time, the damage had been done. The Congo Free State had left a legacy of trauma, devastation, and economic ruin that would take generations to overcome. The lasting impact on the Congo and the world. The impact of Leopold's reign of terror in the Congo continues to be felt to this day. The trauma inflicted on the Congolese people has left deep scars on the nation's collective memory. The infrastructure of exploitation that Leopold established set the stage for further colonial abuses under Belgian rule. And the effects of this brutal legacy can still be seen in the ongoing political instability, conflict, and poverty that have plagued the Democratic Republic of the Congo since its independence in 1960. Leopold's exploitation of the Congo also had broader implications for the world. His actions highlighted the dangers of unchecked colonial ambition and the dehumanizing effects of imperialism. The Congo Free State became a symbol of the horrors of colonialism, and the international campaign to expose Leopold's crimes helped lay the groundwork for the modern human rights movement. The term crimes against humanity, first used by George Washington Williams to describe the atrocities in the Congo, would later become a key concept in international law. In Belgium, Leopold's legacy remains a contentious issue. While he was once celebrated as a visionary leader who brought prosperity to Belgium, the full extent of his crimes in the Congo has cast a long shadow over his reputation. In recent years, there have been calls to remove statues of Leopold and to confront the dark history of Belgium's colonial past. The debate over how to remember Leopold reflects a broader struggle to come to terms with the legacy of colonialism and the atrocities committed in its name. Conclusion: the terrifying legacy of King Leopold II is a stark reminder of the devastating consequences of unchecked power and greed. His reign over the Congo Free State stands as one of the most brutal and inhumane chapters in the history of colonialism, a period marked by unimaginable suffering and loss. While Leopold sought to enrich himself and expand his influence, the true cost of his ambitions was paid in the lives of millions of Congolese people. The horrors of the Congo Free State serve as a powerful cautionary tale, a reminder of the importance of holding those in power accountable and of the enduring need for justice and human rights in the face of oppression.